Okay.
Yay!
Hello, hello, Melo.
Hi, hi. I was getting a little bit worried over there.
We were here, we were watching you, sending you messages to say we're here, but we can't get in.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Melo.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you. So, when I read in your profile, known each other for 35 years, have been married for 26 years. The first thing I thought to myself was, geez, I'm turning 26 tomorrow. And the both of you are 35. So, like, it doesn't add up. So tell me, guys, like, what is your secret? Number one, how are you guys keeping so young?
Hang on, but we're not 35.
No.
Yeah,
So that's what she's asking. How are we keeping young?
you go.
Well, I guess it's being on purpose. You know, we live purposefully. And they say that when you live purposefully, then you radiate youth and vitality. And for me, that's been the answer all along, you know. And I'm sure you've seen that, right, Melo? When people are down and tired and overworked, they look much more older than they actually are.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a second one would be living consciously.
Yeah.
You know, we're conscious about what we eat, we're conscious about our health, we're conscious about our attitudes, and we're conscious about our relationships. So, you know, all of that adds to longevity and how you live your life, you know.
Wow, yeah, no, I wanted to add on that healthy eating because I remember when I met you guys for the first time, on that healthy tip, having some healthy snacks. So, yeah, no, I can attest to that. So, it's definitely you are what you eat. It's showing, and you guys are doing a good job. This, tell me, what's the first thing you noticed about Mona that 35 odd years ago?
Was her leg.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I'm being naughty, but it's partly true. But the whole package, I guess. I love how beautiful she looked in that school dress. And she sort of naughty smile that I was attracted to. Yeah.
Wow. And tell me, was it love at first sight, Mona, when you saw this? Or was it like, okay, he likes me, so let's see what happens?
Exactly. Love it. No, I didn't even understand what love was. For me, it was like, oh, well, this guy kind of likes me. I mean, I was interested in studying. I wasn't interested in a boyfriend. Not at all.
Wow. And because you guys have known each other for so long, how do you guys keep the spark alive? I mean, I'm sure, you know, a lot of marriages don't last these days. The spark dies in the first like 5 years. And you guys have kept it going, like, and going and going. What are you guys doing? What are you doing right? Because clearly you're doing something right.
Well, you want to answer that?
Well, you know,
We got it wrong for a long time.
When you think about sparks, you could have a positive spark and a negative spark. And let's be honest, we have both of them.
Yeah.
And lots of both of them, you know. So I think we've learned how to communicate with each other and understanding what the other person requires from when things are not going right.
Yeah.
You know, and it often doesn't go right.
Yeah. So
it's not sunshine and roses every day. No way.
And I'm sure, Melo, you know, we both quite, you know, headstrong people. We both have our own personalities. So, you know, that can get in the way. And like we said, unless we communicate with each other, we can get it completely wrong if we don't pay attention to consciously interacting with each other.
And this,
I think it looks like an iceberg, Melo, where it looks like it's all roses on the top, but there's a lot of work behind it. I mean, just yesterday I was called stubborn. So
Yeah.
and Viz, do you always let her have her way?
no, no, no. No. But I think it's not even compromise anymore. It's coming to understanding. You know, what we learned from our relationship coach is that it's about addressing the misunderstanding as opposed to being
Fighting
a personal, as being a fight with each other. Yeah, it's not a personal attack. It's nothing personal. It's where did we misunderstand each other that we now got to address it? And yes, maybe I was stubborn and that caused the issue. So sometimes our traits do get us into trouble, does cause problems, but very often it's, I think I said something and it was understood differently by Mona, and that can create a misunderstanding, and it works both ways.
Sure. And how long were you married before you guys got a relationship coach? And just how important is it to have a relationship coach? Because I mean, these days there's coaches for everything. I mean, you two are coaches yourself.
Yeah. And that's just it, Melo. It took us 26 years before we got a relationship coach, right? And that's it. Relationship should be like a fundamental that's taught in schools, because it's not just relationship with a romantic partner, it's relationships with everybody. And you know, we've had some of the world's leading coaches on personal development, right? But what we learn from a relationship coach is completely different. It's a different language. Yeah, it's a different language.
Yeah, I think Mona summarized it very well. You know, the love language, and as I said, any relationship, but let's focus on the love language here.
Yeah.
It is a language that you've got to learn. It's not something you just inherently pick up.
Yeah.
You've got to learn, and by doing the exercise and doing the work, and you've got to work with each other on that. I mean, to get maximum benefit, work with each other. So if you both know and understand that language, you know how to communicate in that language. And I'm listening to the five love language, and one of the examples they use is like, you know Chinese, somebody else, you know English, somebody else knows Chinese. If you don't know how to communicate in a common language, you will not understand each other. So that's exactly what it's like in a relationship.
Yeah.
And you guys get full of each other. And how do you deal with that?
Well, I don't know whether we get tired of each other, but we could get irritated with each other. And especially me, right? You know, Melo, and us women, okay? You know, we pick up on things quickly and we love things to be done a certain way. And, you know, sometimes if it's not done that way or with the speed that we like it, then we may say something which could like poke the other person, you know. So it's not like we get fed up with each other. I guess that's one thing, we've not had the opportunity to get bored with each other. We've not had that opportunity, right? But we can get irritated or annoyed with each other about something. And these days, we don't go off to our own spaces. We learn to communicate with each other. We turn towards each other rather than away from each other.
And if we really feel challenged by a situation, then a timeout is actually quite normal.
Yes.
You know, so I would take a drive and go and have a cup of coffee, and then you think things through, and then when you come back and you're using the language you know, address it. And very often it's like going to Mona and saying, you know, I'm sorry, I misunderstood this, or I'm sorry, this is what I did, and that's how it made you feel. It actually melts that sort of
the tension.
Yeah. And you're able to talk about it as opposed to wanting to just push each other away. You know, Mona talk about working towards each other, you know?
Yeah, awesome. So So you guys are always together, basically. Like when I look at your Facebook, you guys are traveling together, you're out at restaurants together. Like, I know where Mona is, Vis is. Where Vis is, Mona is. Like, how important is it to have a friendship before a relationship and marriage? How important is that?
Well, I guess when you're friends, you get to see both sides of the person, right? So you get to see the parts you like and you don't like. You get to see the person vulnerable as well as, like I say, both sides. Now, when you're just in a romantic relationship, it's almost like each one puts their best foot forward. And then you get married and then you suddenly wonder, who did I marry? Where does this other side come from, right? And I guess that's why it's so important for people to get to know each other as friends. Like how friends will hang out. Can you just sit there and be with each other without having to be all over each other? What's the word I'm looking for? Like clingy, because friends, I don't think they are clingy. I think they're there and they love being around each other and being playful, being honest and open. That's what friendship for me brings first into a relationship.
Sure. Vis? She said it all.
No, I think being friends allows you to do things together. So we dream together, we co-create together. And as much as you've seen pictures of Mona and I together, we could be somewhere remote and still have our own space and time, which Mona loves, So as much as you see, I'm either behind the camera or with her, but we have time apart on our own, and that's quite normal, which is something we enjoy. So we could spend a few hours alone and then come together and just cuddle up and watch a movie together. So yeah, we do fun things together and I think it's important for you to do things on your own as well.
And if I may add, Melo, Vis doesn't just come into my office. You must make an appointment to come into my office.
Oh, well, excuse us, Princess Mona.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how I've always been. I'm not going to change my habits because I work from home now,
No, absolutely not. Professionalism all the way.
Yes.
And you spoke about giving each other space even though you're together. So I just want to touch on evolving, growing, maturing, because you guys have been together for so long. And it could be that I could meet somebody today and in a year's time, I'm like, who the hell is this person? But you guys, 36 years knowing each other, how have you guys grown and matured and developed personally together? And like, just how do you adapt to that? Because like as a couple individually, you might find that when you guys met, Vis was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And then 2 years down the line, he's like, no, I want to be employed. And you're like, no, I don't want somebody who's employed. I want an entrepreneur. Like, and Mona quit her job. And it's like, no, I wanted a woman who is working 9 to 5. So how have you guys navigated through all of that in terms of growing and developing as individuals, as a couple?
Do you want to take that?
I think, yeah, that's a great question, Melo, because we have certainly grown through the years. And I think the last 6 years have probably been the trajectory of the greatest growth for the two of us. And we've had to adapt to knowing different people. But that's what kept the magic, is that we have become different people. Although, with each other in our relationship, we may have been more or less the same. But we have grown in different areas. We have grown in different strengths. We have become more vocal in certain areas. And it's almost like we learn about parts of each other that we didn't know existed before. I can attest to that because Mona's acknowledged things in me like, okay, I didn't realize you see that in me, or I didn't realize that was dormant in me. And we've actually learned to accept that we have become different people. and love those traits as well.
And I guess if I have to add, Melo, you know, it's we have to recommit, like you said. When we got married, we were young. We just came out of university. We both went into our professional careers. And when I started, you know, evolve, as we said, the last 6 years, I realized there was more to me. I was more than a wife. I was more than a mother. I was more than advocate Mona Naidu. There was more. And I think to an extent that did scare us a bit, you know, because, hey, who is she going to become now if she's changing, you know? And it's like we had to recommit to being in this relationship. We had to recommit because I'm like the sky's not even the limit. You know, I'm flying like Supergirl out into space. Like, Vis, are you coming along? I think that was an right? Because Vis said, if he didn't come along the journey with me, then he may have been somewhere else, because that was how I was. Like, I found me again, you know, after being a mother and a wife. It's like a new life showed up for me.
Sure.
Interesting point, because you know, at one point Mona didn't like the title nurturer, for example.
Yes.
You know, so because she felt that put her in a box, and she's a lot more than that, because she had this yearning to let her purpose out. And I had to understand that that's who she was, and that she was more. She's definitely destined for more. And I had one or two choices: is get on the journey of growing, or if I stayed and plateaued, then she would outgrow me, and actually there'll be no place for me. And we've seen friends where that has happened, you know. And I had to make a choice, and it was a choice that I enjoyed because I love growing too, you know. So yeah, and it's danger of one person growing.
Yeah.
Well, one person growing, one stagnating, or one growing at a much faster rate than the other. Well, Mona is still growing faster than me. I agree. I've got to play catch up most of the time.
Sure. And you know, Vis, I applaud you for that, because I feel that in a lot of relationships, men cannot stand by a woman whose star is shining ever so brightly. Because it's always supposed to be the man who's shining and the woman just in the background, kind of like, okay, I'm here in the shadows, you know, let him shine. So it's pretty inspiring and amazing to watch how you let Mona flourish, and as she flourishes, the entire family flourishes, and you're able to also flourish, you know. So that's amazing as well as a man. So kudos to you on that. And speaking of purpose, you know, how important is it for your purpose as a couple to be aligned? Because, you know, you mentioned that Mona found her purpose. Vis, did you find your purpose as well? Or were you like, you know, I'll find my purpose on the way, let's go, Mona, whatever you're doing, I'm behind you, let's do this thing? Or was it like, okay, no, let me first find my purpose, you go on and do your thing, that's your purpose? Or how did it work for the both of you in this case?
Yeah, I think we both have our individual purpose, and we've had a joint purpose. And I think maybe the joint purpose really spearheaded the other purpose that we had. When we realized that climbing Kilimanjaro and supporting Trek for Mandela, and you know, getting schoolgirls to stay in school, that was a purpose that really opened our eyes that we can, as a couple, make a difference, and certainly as individuals make a difference. And we realized that this life is more than just about us. That's when having three purposes, and very often where our purposes support each other, you know. So I'm aligned to Mona's purpose and support her, and so does she with me. So that's brilliant. And then obviously the common purpose is something that really catapults us, because we're both putting our energy into it. So yeah, it's a combination of three purposes, really.
And Melo, they say that, you know, when we first get married, we're in the honeymoon stage, right? Then we go into that struggle stage after that. And most people stay in that struggle stage, like this conflict stage, for years and years and years, right? And then what happens is that we have to find a purpose, because people may get together and have children, and that will be their purpose. But after that, it's like you have to redefine who you are together as a couple. And the thing that creates empowered couples you know, this elevated, evolved relationship is when you have a purpose bigger than the two of you. And I guess that's what we found, you know, 6 years ago. We found this common thing that was pulling us together. So even when we have the disagreements, it's like we know why we are together, because it's beyond us.
Wow, that's awesome. And speaking of people coming together just to have children and that's their purpose, how did parenting change the dynamics in your relationship? I mean, you guys have one son, and you know, obviously, Mona, you had to be the nurturer, the word that you don't like. And then after that, kind of find yourself again. So talk me through that before and then during and then where you are now.
Okay, now that's a good one. So for everyone, I have accepted I am a nurturer. Right?
And a great one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's bigger. I mean, you see all the kids around me, right? When I go to the schools and stuff like that. But it's all because, just to explain, as a woman, it was like as if that word was a negative word for me. You know, because it's like being seen as feminine. I mean, Melo, you know me. I mean, I don't know how much less feminine I could be, right? But like those words, it's all the conditioning, you know, like from when we were young, like women just had to stay at home. Women had to take care of the children. So that's why that was a negative word, which I had to work through. But becoming a mom also changed my identity. It meant I had to start playing it safe, right? It meant that I couldn't be as free. And those were things that have been evolving through me in the last 6 years. But one thing I did, I said, Vis and I said, our son came into our life. So he must fit into our schedule, you know? It means no taking out the nice furniture, no moving things around, so that it's like, hey, you fit into our home. But we've had such a beautiful journey with our son. And I think because of my career being in the public service, I had regular hours. So I could go to work, drop him off, come back home at a proper time, and come home and be the mom to him. And yes, you know, it was like, hey, nobody gives you a book to be parents. You know, Melo, you've got kids as well, right? Nobody gives you a book. And in the same way, like in a relationship, you guess all the time until you get to learn about proper parenting as well. And just by the way, we learned about proper parenting when when Tia did like 2012, you know, and then oh, we're imposing ourselves on our child. We're imposing our values on it. Yes, also very late in the game. You know, our son is now 25 and a half years old, you know, so in 2012, you know, it's like, oh, okay, but okay, we got some things sorted there.
Wow.
Melo, going back to, you know, when Tia was born, and I think this is important for parents, especially fathers, is that, you know, I shared the load with Mona. I think it was important that we both share the load to really make this a harmonious journey with mother, father, and the child. But I can say now that I did not know how to be a dad. So which challenged me a lot, because sometimes I would want to be my child's friend, that caused drama for all three of us, you know? So like learning a relationship language, learning how to be a parent, I think is important. And there are some good books on learning how to be a parent, you know? Raising Boys, for example, is a good book. And that's the same author wrote Raising Girls now, Steve Biddulph. And it's important that you learn to communicate about children, not in the presence of children, and in the right way, address things. You know, that's one of the issues, is parents address things in front of children to show who's a stronger parent, which I did. And that created real issues for us. And I'm happy to share that, because if anybody else can learn from that, you know, to change that kind of behavior, because it's not about, because I'm the man, I've got to show you that I'm the boss. It doesn't work like that. It creates communication havoc if you don't do it in the right way, in the right manner.
Sure. I mean, I was just reading someone's status yesterday, and they were like, where do we get the manual for raising teenagers? And I was like, oh, yeah. We kind of just learn as we go, hey? We kind of just learn as we go. So, you guys are both passionate about personal development. You guys are passionate about traveling. It seems like your purpose is aligned, basically. But what happens if I don't like what my partner likes and my partner doesn't like what I like, and we just don't like the same things? Can our relationship work? Can our marriage work? Do we have to like have the same likes and dislikes to make it work?
No, not at all. Our teacher, Dr. John DeMartini, taught us this many years ago, that if both people are the same, one person's redundant.
Sure.
Right? And that's what he said. Imagine if we both were the same, and he does it like this. If you ever get a chance to go watch him speak, you must take that opportunity. Right? He says, then we look at each other and say, oh, we both have two eyes, we both have a nose, and we have the same ears, And that's just it, right? Because we must have harmony, and to have harmony, you've got to have opposites in the space, right? Too much of a difference will cause disharmony, because then you're like polar opposites, right? But there'll be our unique individual things which will bring character and color to the relationship, right? Like, for example, my love language is quality time, and Vis's love language is personal touch, right? And we both get to understand and show up, because it's like going to a restaurant and eating the exact same meal. It can be boring, it can be bland, right? Unless you're doing a tasting menu and they're bringing all for the same table, And I guess that's how it is. It's like not losing yourself in that relationship, right? And your uniqueness is paramount, because otherwise then one party feels bitter and resentment towards the other party if they're having to do or try to fit into the other person's mold. And just by the way, you did try to do that, right? Remember, you wanted me, oh yes, Vis shared that once in our Facebook Live, that he wanted me to be the textbook wife. And it didn't happen.
Far from it.
Okay, guys, we don't know. What is the textbook wife? Please explain.
I don't know. Ask Vis.
Ones you see on TV.
Doing what?
With the apron.
One that listens to her husband. The one that doesn't challenge you.
The one with the apron. The one with the apron
Yeah.
and the duster.
But you know what's the best part? For me to be advocate Mona and I, to be this abundant living coach, and still have we both still clean our home. And in South Africa, for us to be cleaning our own home is like a big, why would you? Because you can get domestic help, right? And since our domestic help left in 2014 and never came back, we've been cleaning our home even whilst we were in our careers. And I love cooking. So for me, those are not like added things, but it's just that I am very opinionated, So that's what Vis's textbook wife is like. When I say something, why don't you just accept it without questioning? I'm like, that's not how my brain works.
No. We certainly challenge each other
To grow.
a lot, to grow, absolutely, And I think challenge is healthy. If you just agreed with everything the other partner said, it would be like going to a restaurant and ordering the same meal.
Yeah.
And Milo talked about this tasting menu. There was one restaurant we went to where we had a choice of two tasting menus, and we had both options.
Yeah.
So we probably had like 36 different dishes that day.
Wow. And speaking of Mona not listening to you, Vis, what makes you angry? And not what does Mona do that makes you angry, but what makes you as Vis angry? Number one, Mona, what makes you angry? And then also, how do you guys deal with conflict? What's your conflict management? Is it resolution or strategy? So Vis.
Well, I think my stubbornness is a result of me getting angry. When I don't want to face the truth of what Mona shared with me, then it's quite easy to deflect and become angry about it. You know, so she's just the messenger giving me the message, but I would choose to get angry. And as much as I know the language, as much as I know what it's all about, when you don't like something you're hearing or it touches a nerve that you don't want to go and be touched, you tend to get angry about it. But we've learned how to deal with that by communicating about it. So when something affects me in that way, I would go to Mona and share with her how I feel about what she said or what she did, but realizing that it's about how I felt about the action and not you did. I think that's the important thing. It's not what the person did. It's how you felt or how you perceived or how you received the message.
Mona?
Yeah. So for me, I get annoyed or irritated, right? But that's just a surface level. That's just a surface level thing. Because that's what we learned as well in the relationship, that when we get angry or annoyed or irritated or complain, it's something deeper, right? And for me, because I think so fast, because I act so fast, you know, if you don't get it, I mean, come on, I've been in court for 24 years. You know, you're going to be thinking on your feet, right? So my brain is wired very, very fast. So for me, if you don't think fast enough, it's like, what's going on, right? So yes, exactly. But I've become better since I learned how to communicate. But you know, it's Neil Donald Walsh, the author of Conversations with God. And he speaks about it, and he says it like this: in the absence of that which you are not, that which you are is not. So the person you are in relationship with, right, is a mirror for you constantly to show you either to show you who you're not, so who you really are can emerge. And when we see our partner as a mirror, and I would say that to us, there's certain times can get really angry because anger is my surface level emotion. And I would say to him, right now, you are peeving me, right? I'm not using the word with the SS in it, right? You're peeving me. But it's not you. There's something that has to come out from me. There's something that has to evolve. And that's what I've learned in the last year, to say it's not you. And then sometimes Vis forgets to listen. And that's why our coach, Lisa Nichols, said to Vis, listen to your wife. She knows what she's talking about. Right? So that would be exacerbated because I'm saying it's not you. But what I'm experiencing right now is poking me really hard. So let me process this. Let me process this because it's not you. I'm having to deal with some demons in my cupboard. You know.
And are you guys happy with the fact that you got married at a young age? Do you think you should have waited, or if you had a chance to do it over again, would you do it exactly the same way?
I think so. Because I think if I didn't get married then, or even had a child then, Melo, I don't think I would have got married or had a child, right? Because I think I would have scared other people away.
Like I said with Mona, a lot of men would not be here this long. I think Mona's had ambition from young.
Yeah.
She's high energy and fairly impatient. So I think if you want to know what really angers me is, don't be impatient with me. You know, I've got all the patience in the world, so don't be impatient with me. Yeah. So that's something we work through. But no, I think we do it the same. I think just educate ourselves more on how to make things work from a much earlier age.
Yes.
So that's advice we'll give to anyone, to say, learn how to communicate with your life partner.
Wow. Yeah. No, I think you guys are a good match. Like, you've got a bit of what the other one needs, basically. A little bit of coffee, sugar, and milk to make the cup. That's what I see when I look at the two of you. Perfect match, perfect combination. Tell me, what have you guys learned about marriage in the past 26 years? One thing.
One thing.
One important thing.
It's learning how to communicate with each other makes all the difference. I can't overemphasize that. You know, when we did that 8-week program with our relationship coach, that for me was the most intensive, but the most important program that I've done, and probably the program I took the most seriously, because it impacted my relationship with Mona, and I wanted that to work. You know, so that's what I think. Learning how to communicate with your partner, or anyone for that matter, but most certainly in a marriage, makes all the difference to making a harmonious relationship work.
So because you said that, let me just add something else. Understanding who the other person is. And that comes through our whole thing about being values facilitator. When you understand who the other person is, like for example, so that people can understand this is a networker. So in the past, when I pre-2014, when Vis would go to a function and Vis would be interacting with other people, I would get angry. It's like, hey, you're there with me at the function. Why are you ignoring me? But these days, I encourage him because I know that that's what makes him alive. Right? So I don't get upset like I'm there like this damsel in distress waiting for to be next to my husband. He goes in one corner and I'm gone the other corner, because while he's connecting with people, I'm just like sharing the love and light with everybody. You know, so that's how it is. Understanding the other person.
Wow, that's beautiful. We spoke about what makes you angry. What makes you happy?
Ooh. You go.
You can say, no. I'll tell you. You know what makes you happy.
Tell them.
No, you tell them. Because I think if Vis can have this, like nothing else matters to him. Please do share.
You don't want chocolate.
Chocolate too.
Mona knows how much I love chocolate.
Yes.
What are you referring to?
Like just lying in your arms. Oh, this is Vis's happy place. If I just lie in his arms in the morning before we get up, like that makes his day.
Well, that's my love language of touch.
Yes,
you know. So it's a special time where I get to feel close to Mona, and she's lying in my arms, and I think the world hasn't started yet, and I just get to enjoy that time with her. So that's my happy place. Yeah, that's what I love the most.
And for me, what I love the most is when Vis just shares like his dreams and ideas with me, because he loves keeping it to himself. So when Vis talks to me, I just sit quietly and I listen, you know. So that's when I'm really happy, because I know that he's open enough. You know, he feels safe enough to be able to speak with me and share so vulnerably.
Wow. And, you know, I didn't have this question on my list, Mona, but as you're speaking, it's coming to me that, you know, I'm not even going to say a woman, but for a partner who's very driven, who's got a vision, who's very passionate, whose light is shining brightly, basically. How important is it to bring your partner along? Is it your responsibility to say, okay, Vis, look at me. I'm on my way, like I'm moving. Are you coming with, or what's happening here? Or are you just focused on yourself and like, I'm moving? So what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to have that conversation to bring them on board, to bring them along, to make sure that you don't leave them behind? Because I know the one thing, you know, one of the advices that my parents gave me was that if you're going to further your studies, make sure your partner also furthers their studies. Don't be going on and on and on, getting a doctorate and a what and a what and a what, and leaving your partner behind. Like, you guys should try and make sure that as you develop the one, the other one is also developing. So your thoughts on that?
Right. And this is it. Each of us are on our own journey. And that's the first thing, and that's what the whole understanding is. Each of us are on our own journey. But like Vis shared, if you're both not moving forward, you're both not growing in your own way, then, that stagnation by the one will impact the other one that's moving forward. And it's important for both parties, like we said, I'm like the speed of lightning. I can read a book as fast as anything, while this may take a while to read a book, but he can listen to audiobooks. Now, that's his preferred way. Yeah, and it's all about that. And being women, we want to take everyone with us, right? So we can be overbearing if we aren't aware that that's the impact of our actions, right? Because we know what's good and we want to share it with everybody. And that it can challenge people, because sometimes other people around you may not be as fast as we are. And I notice this with most women. Most women share this with me. So we have to be sensitive, right? Is the person growing, but at their own pace, or are they just sitting there and saying, I'm not doing any of this stuff. I don't believe in this stuff. I don't believe in eye gazing to connect with you. Like, that's like nonsense, Then that does become challenging. So when you're in a partnership, you have to understand that you are in the symbiotic relationship. You are interdependent, right? You are there to be, at one stage, one of you will be strong and the other one may feel weak. And at the other stage, the other one may be strong and the other one may feel weak. So you're there for each other in this really beautiful dance together. And yes, if someone doesn't want to grow, that's going to have a negative impact on the relationship.
Please.
So, okay, you want me to add as well? I think, adding on to what Mona said, is the partner has to be on that journey of growth by choice. Mm-hmm. If you feel you're pushed into it, if you feel it's not an area, if you both want to study the same thing, for example, it's not an area that you're really interested in, and you may really become bored by it, then you're going to find yourself being frustrated by it. So you've got to do it by choice. Yeah. And as much as we both have a similar journey, we have a lot in common that we're learning and growing on, but we both have different skill sets that we're quite strong in that complement each other, And I totally subscribe to letting Mona shine and being that catalyst to get her to shine, because I think we both shine in different ways. And mine might be just making friends. That's where I shine, and that's where I get my joy from. Mona, from what she does in terms of coaching and being from the camera and speaking, that's where her joy comes from. So you can see mine could be very much one-on-one, Mona's one-to-many. So it's totally different, but we both have a place where we can shine and receive that joy. And we support each other in both those areas.
Sure. So the puzzle in your lives, in your marriage, seems to be complete. If there was one piece missing to complete the puzzle, what is that one piece? Mona?
What is the one piece? That's an interesting question, Melo.
Working my stuff.
Okay. No, but that's just it, right? It's, if I had to say that you must work on your stubbornness, because then I'm trying to fix him. And that's one thing I've learned. I'm not here to fix anybody. I'm just here to let me evolve. So if the piece of the puzzle, well, right now, can you think of what your piece of the puzzle would be?
Making more time for each other.
But that's living in scarcity. The minute we say more of, is we're not seeing and valuing what's right there. So I live from this place of sufficiency, right? I live from this place that everything is exactly and enough for what we have right now. So if there's any piece of the puzzle in our relationship right now, for me, it's exactly the way it is, with versus stubbornness, with my impatience, with thing, but maybe it's a question I would, if I ponder on it, and if it's something pops up, then I'll message you, you know. But for me right now, nothing's missing.
Wow.
Nothing's missing. We have enough of everything we require. That's how I feel. But like Vis told you, he wants more time.
So this wants more time. Mona feels that everything is the way it should be right now, in this moment. Right?
Yeah.
This, am I correct?
Yeah. I think that just me. I guess I represent our dog Milo. You know, he wants a lot of attention. He loves attention, but I think it's very often attention on your timeline as opposed to an agreed timeline. So maybe that's what it is. You know, when Mona has time for me, maybe I'm busy with something else, and I'm expecting her to then just fit in with my schedule. So it's about making and agreeing on the time we spend together. So I'm a bit guilty, I would say, of not sticking to times that we agree to. And I think, yeah, that's probably it from my side. Would be more discipline about adhering to what we agreed to. So whether it's what we agreed to do, or times, or what we agreed to say. So just learning to stick to the agreement would be an area of the puzzle that I would work on, that would create a lot more harmony in our relationship.
What's the greatest regret that you have, Vis?
Whoa. That's a tough one. That's really something I've got to think about. I couldn't tell you off the cuff. Great. Would you think of something in the meantime?
But you know, I don't live in regret.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I live from the principle that nothing was right or wrong. And you know, when you live with regret, you're almost coming from a place of guilt. And when you've been doing the extent of work that we've been doing for the last 6 years, that's one of the things they teach us. When we have regret, we lower our vibration. And when we lower our vibration, we move away from abundance and good. So that's one of the things. We are not supposed to have regret, because nothing was right or wrong, right? And it's accepting it. It's like a really, really deep spiritual place to be in, to understand that regret is making something wrong that occurred, but it just was at that time with what we knew.
Oh, wow.
I think it's right. I think the reason I'm trying
To
find something because there's nothing that we regret. There's things that I would have changed. There's things I would have done differently. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But nothing that I regret, because I think regret is about living in the past, and anxiety is about living in the future. So we're living in the present, living in the now. There's no place for regret or anxiety, you know. And well, at times you'll probably find yourself tending toward then realizing, oops, but what am I doing? Like, let me just enjoy where I am right now.
Wow.
You know, I think we've certainly learned that, just being present and enjoying the now, because all we have is the now.
Absolutely. Wow, that sounds like such an amazing place to be, where you've accepted everything that's happened, and you've just accepted that everything that's happened is working together for your good. It was working together for you, whether it was bad, whether it was good, whether you understood it at the time, whether you did not understand it at the time, but it was all working together to bring you to the place where you are right now. That is amazing. That is amazing. Mona, what do you love about Vis?
What do I love about Vis?
Yes.
Vis is one of the kindest person you could ever find. I mean, I'll be sitting and busy working, and Vis will bring me water, bring me a little snack, you know, and it doesn't matter. But what I love about Vis is wherever we go, and that's why I say that kindness is amplified. He'll make sure that wherever we go in the world, that something special happens at whichever place we are at. Like just now when we were in Kambati, he planned this special picnic, you know, And that's just Vis. And from the time I know him, well, the first time we were going out in school, we weren't actually going out, right? And he brought me roses from his mom's garden. So that is how Vis has always been, affectionate, loving, giving. And you know what's the most amazing? This is the type of person who, it's like wherever we go, it's as if money's never been an option with him. I've not heard the word that we can't afford that or you can't have that. If anything, I'm the one that will not want to buy something. This is like, what's wrong with you? You can have that. You can have that. So if anybody, women, you want to go shopping, I'm renting this out to women. Yes.
Wow. So it is safe to say that this is the more romantic one in the relationship.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Absolutely.
And this, what do you love about Mona?
There's so many things, and I could pick on her physical attributes, but I think what I love about her is her energy. I have to keep up with my wife's energy. So she's really energetic. She's a visionary, and her ability to learn, ability to teach, and let me see and be who I am is certainly something I really, really and truly admire and cherish in her. She has this innate ability and intuitiveness that I just marvel at because I've never seen it before, So her ability.
And tell to Melo what you said. Vis listens to books, right? He's doing all the audio, and then he says, oh, when I listen to this, it's like all the things you've said. Come say it, say it.
That's probably the stubbornness. I won't hear from you, but I'll hear from somebody else. But that just amplifies how intuitive and how much she knows, and lets me learn that about myself as well. So yeah, I think letting me be me, it was very important, and that's what I love about her.
Wow, awesome.
Besides her beautiful smile, her soft skin.
Oh, you can go on and on and
on. I can go on and on. Yeah. Her amazing cooking. I love food, and if I tell you Mona is a gourmet chef in our home, that makes me happy.
Gourmet healthy chef, might we add?
Yeah, gourmet healthy.
Masejo Mukhodzi says naughty smile. I think she's referring to when Vis said he noticed your naughty smile, Mona.
Yes, Masejo, lots of love to you.
Zuzi Mokhetle says love it. Rebaone Boni Malepe Mileng says abundance, discipline, and no regrets. She loves that. Lizzie Mkhobongwana says love is beautiful. Sizake Lenkosi says beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What do you know for sure about marriage?
Okay, it's a union of two people, right? It's a union of two people coming together to create magic in this world, right? Discovering who they are as individuals. And when they can bring that synergy together, right? It's like that is what this world requires, more empowered couples. Because that's how we're going to create this magnificent world, the world of our dreams. When we bring the divine feminine and we bring the divine masculine and we merge them, because that's what love is about. It's both sides. It's not just one side.
Sure. Viz?
I think, marriage is based on relationships, and you can have different types of relationships. You can have a purposeful relationship where you both are together for the purpose of having children, the purpose of having a mission. Um, Whatever the purpose is that may keep you together. And at some point, maybe there is no purpose in the relationship, and that relationship may end. So, as I said, a marriage is a relationship. So, a marriage could end if you find that you both have totally different purposes and you can't align. And then there's other relationships that will be a lifelong relationship because of that partnership you have that will be lifelong. So, I think you've got to look at your marriage and what you're in that marriage for. Don't stay in a marriage thinking that it is lifelong when it actually was purposeful and you've served your purpose in that marriage.
So we just lost the Naidoos there. We're trying to get them back on. What an amazing, amazing couple. They've known each other for 36 years, have been married for 26 years, and you can still see the spark and the love in their eyes. I'm excited to just wrap up the show tonight with them. We're about to end it in a bit. This was just telling us what he knows for sure about marriage. Wow, such wisdom from these two. Such wisdom. I'm so inspired. I don't know about you. I'm truly, truly inspired. Let's try and get them back on. Alrighty then.
Wow.
Hello.
You are back. I don't know what happened, but yeah. And I was really enjoying that. You were telling us what you know for sure about marriage. We're about to wrap up and go into the last segment of the show.
So you want me to share that again?
Just towards the end.
Just toward the end, yeah. And I was saying that, knowing that you've got a purposeful relationship in a marriage keeps that marriage alive, it's a glue that keeps you together. And sometimes when that purpose has ended, you may not choose to be in that marriage anymore. And that's okay, because you may have a totally different purpose and move on. But then you have a lifelong relationship as well. And I think Mona and I have both a lifelong relationship and we have a purposeful relationship. That's the beauty of having a double whammy almost, It's about understanding why you're in that relationship. And that's what defines a marriage. Just staying together and just merely existing is not a nice place to be. So one's got to be very clear on why you're together in a marriage.
Wow. That is beautiful, you guys. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. And it's just amazing watching your marriage, watching your relationship, watching you guys flourish as individuals, as a couple. It's very clear that the both of you have found your purpose as individuals, but you've also found your purpose as a couple. And that is such a blessing. It's so inspiring. I pray that you go for, guys, you've already done 26. You're like, I pray you go for another 50 more years, more together, God willing, and continue inspiring in your corners as individuals and as a couple. You guys are amazing. Mona, you're amazing as a nurturer. Continue supporting your husband. Viz, continue supporting Mona, and may your stars shine brighter and brighter and brighter. We're going to go into the last segment of our show. I'm just going to ask you 5 questions. Okay, so normally for the couples, you just point at whoever it is that's more suitable for what I'm asking. But for the first question, it's a bit different. I'm gonna ask both of you. This first. This, you answer on behalf of Mona. Do you think she'd choose the beach or the game reserve?
Loves both. Ooh, she loves both. I'd say game reserve. If I had to definitely choose one, it'd be the game reserve because she's close to nature.
And Mona, what do you think this would choose? Beach or
Beach,
game reserve?
beach, bikinis on the beach.
Not me wearing.
Hopefully not. And both of you, was the other one right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I love water.
Wow. And for the next 4 questions, you're just going to point, who's the loudest? Who's the best dancer? Who's the best cook?
Coach.
Cook.
Cook.
Who's short-tempered?
Short-tempered.
Short-tempered.
Definitely.
Wow. Wow, guys. That is, yeah. That brings us to the end. And before we end it off, thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. I just want to know from you, what's your favorite quote on love?
What's your favorite quote on love?
Ooh.
Well, I think, I don't know if it's a quote, but I say love is the answer to everything. So I don't know if it's actually a quote out there or it's something I dreamt about or whatever.
Or made up?
Love is the answer to everything.
Absolutely. Yes.
For me, I'd say you can take everything away from me, but you won't be able to take away my hope, my faith, and my ability to love.
Wow. I came across one today. It said, there is only one happiness in this life, to love and to be loved. And you've got that amazing blessing of both. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. God bless you. Before we wrap it up, I just want you to look into camera 3 and say, be great, for if not you, then who?
Be great. If not you, then who?
Yay. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. You guys are amazing. You guys are great. And thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. We apologize for the technical glitch that we had. But be sure to tune in next week. Tonight was supposed to be the last episode of the Be Great Couples Edition. But I've decided to extend it a little bit with just 1 week. So next week, again, we're having an amazing couple who's going to inspire us, and we're going to talk about love, life, marriage, purpose, and everything in between. My name is Melo. Be grateful. If not you, then who? God bless and good night. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.